Hello, and welcome to the fourth video of our look into the library's Ebsco databases. In the past three videos, we've been looking at the layout of the Ebsco databases, which is the same for all of them. We took a look at how to search, how to find the best terms to search, but also, when you had that really long list of results, how to narrow it down and find exactly what you were looking for. But now that we've covered that, we're going to move on, and we're going to look at all of the 54 or so Ebsco databases that our library has, what subjects are covered, and what information is in each of them. So, let's begin. Today, we're going to start on our countylibrary.org homepage. Then go up to the main menu and click on eLibrary, and then on Research Databases. On this page, there are over 50 Ebsco databases, so I'm going to start going over each of them and what sort of information they contain. Now, that's a lot of databases, so first I'm going to show you how to find more information on each. Let's click on the first Ebsco database, which is under Business and Careers, and it's called Business Abstracts. If you've seen our previous videos, you are familiar with this homepage of Business Abstracts, which is a homepage shared by all Ebsco databases. If you look just under this Ebsco host logo, where it says Searching Business Abstracts with Full Text, H.W. Wilson, we see a link that says Choose Databases. Let's click on that. We see a list here that isn't very descriptive, but you can choose whichever databases you want to search, and yes, you can search more than one database at a time. I will note that there are more databases listed here than are listed on our countylibrary.org databases page, but I'm only going to cover those listed on our libraries page because some of these Ebsco databases listed here don't have the same format as we explored in the previous videos. I also want to mention that if, for whatever reason, you can't get to a certain database from our libraries page, you can click the links in here to access any of the databases. For this video, however, we don't need to worry about this page in particular. What I want to show you instead is Detailed View here at the top, which we're going to click on. This page includes all of the databases you just saw, but also descriptions of each, including the subjects and the type of information contained. That's basically what we're going to go over today, but I'm going to do this while we're in the library's database list so you can see where each of them are, and hopefully it'll sound a bit more interesting than what's here. So let's go back to the database page and begin. The first, down here in Business and Careers, as we saw just a second ago, is Business Abstracts. The full title is actually Business Abstracts with Full Text, which is an important point. When something mentions abstracts without the full text part, it means that most, if not all, of what's available is information about the articles, like the abstracts, rather than the articles itself. Because this database's official name has with full text, we're going to find a large number of full-length articles too. This database is great for any business-related topics, so you'll find statistical rankings, reports from various associations and conferences, and you can even find product evaluations, interviews, and biographical sketches. In browsing, I've found titles as specific as a list of the outcomes for various Walmart slip and fall court cases, so this is a very all-encompassing database, and it isn't our only business database, but I would say that it is the most broad one we have. The next Ebsco database is, again, also a business database. It is the Business Continuity and Disaster Recovery Reference Center. This one is all about businesses and how they prepare for and recover from threats and disasters. So while you may find news about examples of a company succeeding or failing in their disaster preparation, you'll also find a more detailed information about the actual plans and processes. Now, disaster may sound like hurricane or tornado types of disasters, but it's as varied as Target using more solar power than Walmart, or cybersecurity programs, or even Black Friday competition or data analytics in India. Much of this may seem rather broad, but it all has something to do with disasters, threats, or significant changes in a business market. You may very well find a number of these articles in the other business databases, but if you're looking solely for papers on this topic, this database is perfect. Next is Business Source Complete, which is another broad business database. Ebsco advertises this database as being more suited to business students. While you may find fewer company statistics and more academic articles than you would in the Business Abstracts with Full Text database, it's not necessarily less technical. For instance, there is an article in here titled, let's take a deep breath for this one, Regioisomeric and Enantiomeric Analysis of Primary Triglycerides in Human Milk by Silver Icon and Chiral HPLC Atmospheric Pressure Chemical Ionization Mass Spectrometry. And the only thing I got out of that was something about milk. Still, there's a lot of great articles in here about a variety of business topics, and even the milk article was ultimately about developing infant formulas. The fourth business database is called Regional Business News, which is almost exactly like what it sounds like. This database pulls from journals and publications, all related to business, but these publications are based in specific areas. Some of the publications you'll find in here, for instance, are the Indianapolis Business Journal, Business West, and Orange County Business Journal, which will, of course, primarily focus on business in those regions. We also have the Sustainability Reference Center, which concerns anything related to corporate social responsibility and sustainability. This could encompass anything from controlling cat populations to green business models. What this is not, however, is a source of information on how the general public can be sustainable and conserve resources, although there are some papers in here reporting on various studies done on that subject. A bit further down in this Business and Careers section is the last database in this category, down here under Careers, the Vocational and Career Collection. This database searches through trade and industry-related periodicals, so you'll be searching magazines and journals like Science News, National Parks, Interior Design, or Progressive Grocery. You'll even find some People magazine articles too. It's very broad, but these are all classified as industry-specific or trade-specific magazines and journals. So this database is relatively broad simply because of the vast number of industries and trades included. I do want to emphasize that this database is not a resource about certain careers, although you can find some of that information in here. We're moving on to a different section now, and it's going to be education. Our first EBSCO database is Educational Administration Abstracts. Now, notice that there is no mention of full text, and that is accurate. You will not find very many full text articles within EBSCO here. It will mainly just be information about the articles. There will be options to see the full text if it's available when you're searching or trying to reduce your search results. However, don't count on finding the full articles. This database covers topics related to educational administration, educational leadership, management and research, among many other topics. So this won't be about educating a child from the parents' or the child's perspective so much as it's an educator-oriented resource. Also under education is the Professional Development Collection, which contains information specifically from journals that were written for professional educators. So again, this is a rather broad in the sense of the topic, as long as it has something to do with professional educators. EBSCO also claims that it's the largest collection of full-text educational journals in the world, so supposedly this contains a lot of information and is a great place to look if you're a professional educator or are looking to work in that field. The last database in this section is the Teacher Reference Center, which is also for professional educators. It pulls from 280 of the most popular teacher and administration journals. There's quite a wide array of topics covered, including information on security during test taking, graduate labor markets, student unions, and anything that has to do with educators and their work with students. You may also find it most helpful to search several of the similar databases at the same time using the Choose Databases option that I demonstrated a bit earlier, because a lot of these are fairly similar. Let's move on to a new section, En Español. It does say here that this is Ebsco Bases de Datos, which is Ebsco databases, but this is actually a link to this page. So the first actual Ebsco database here is the Fuente Academia Premier, which translates to Academic Source Premier. This is a Spanish and Portuguese language database, and it is very broad, so it covers quite a few subjects. We will see an English equivalent later on, which is called the Academic Search Complete. Next in the Spanish section is Medic Latina, which is a medical database but is otherwise pretty broad. We'll have a health and medicine database further down on this page, so we'll see English medical databases when we get there. Next is the Genealogy section, which has a number of databases, but only one is hosted by Ebsco. Gateway to North America, People, Places, and Organizations in 19th Century New York. This database specifically covers New York City in the 1800s and includes information about people and organizations within the city, such as tax lists, vital records, burial lists, maps, and town histories. So this makes for a very specific database, and it won't be of any use if you want to explore outside of New York City, but nevertheless, it is packed with a lot of information. Scrolling down a bit further to General and Encyclopedia, the first database through Ebsco in here is Funk and Wagnall's New Encyclopedia, which is just that. It's an encyclopedia. This particular series isn't published in print anymore, so it exists online and is available through Ebsco. Academic Search Complete is next in line. This is a very popular database, and many colleges and universities provide this for their students because not only is it very broad, but it contains thousands of journals and papers on a wide variety of subjects. And there's over 21 subjects that Ebsco lists for this database, including women's studies, zoology, and engineering. Next is Ebsco Complete, but this isn't actually a database. If you were to click on it, which we will do now, you will see that it's actually just the full list of Ebsco databases we have, along with explanations of their content. We saw this early in the video, though we found it a different way. Let's go back and move on. Master File Complete, which is our next one, was specifically designed for public libraries, so it's probably going to be less technical and academic than Academic Search Complete. It's a really good source for magazines, articles, and book sections and chapters. They do break up the books in magazines, so while you can probably find many, if not all, of the chapters of certain books if you search by publications, it's not going to be all in one PDF or page. It will be split up. Still, it's very useful if you need multiple sources on a single topic, and it saves you the hassle of weeding through the entire books. Topic Search is next. Ebsco describes this database as being centered around, quote, news and events. It is intended for students of varying ages, but it's really not limited to students. There's articles from so many different magazines and newspapers. It also contains government publications, public opinion polls, and book reviews. Last in this section is a database called the Texas Reference Center, and it has only Texas-related magazines, reports, and books. If you're looking for anything related to our state, then there's a better chance you'll find it and find it more quickly through this database than in any one of the more broad databases like Academic Search Complete, for instance. Now we move on to the Health and Medicine section. And we have Ebsco databases in both the academic and consumer sections. First is Alt Health Watch, which really isn't all academic sources, though there's many scientific articles in here. Still, I've seen results from Prevention magazine, so it's really best described as a database devoted to alternative and complementary medicine, and quite a few of their sources are peer-reviewed too. If you search for the term honey, for example, you'll find many articles about studies done to understand its effects, but also some more general articles that cover the basics. Let's move on to Healthsource, nursing and academic. This is also a health-related database, of course, but it's geared more towards nurses and other medical professionals, as well as students in that field. In that sense, the articles are quite technical, but there's still a decent portion of them that are for the general public, so it's still a good resource for medical and health information. Medline, just below it, is similar in field, but it's much broader and even covers veterinary medicine and dentistry. Down here in consumer are two other databases. Ahfs Consumer Medication Info and Consumer Health Complete actually link to the same database, which in Ebsco is listed as this one, Ahfs Consumer Medication Info. This database provides medication information in a language that a typical consumer could understand. This also has a number of Spanish entries as well, so you can look up Advil or ibuprofen or any medication that you have in this database. Healthsource Consumer Edition is a broad medical database filled with information that is, again, geared towards consumers rather than medical professionals, which of course is why it's in the consumer section rather than in the academic section. Because it deals with so many subjects, it is a good first start if you're researching something you may be unfamiliar with, or when you're doing a lot of research and it's more convenient just to search in a single place. Healthsource, at least, would be a very good start. Let's move on to History and Cultures down here, which is the next section. And this is also the last section we'll cover in this video. First, we have the Bibliography of Native North Americans, which Ebsco says covers all aspects of Native North American culture, history, and life. They also said that content was dated from the 16th century to the present, so whether you're looking for historical elements or current issues, you can find it all in this database. If the Bibliography of Native North Americans is the main Ebsco database we have for all things about Native North Americans, then the Military and Government collection is that, but for branches of the military and government. Understandably, this contains an incredible number of articles and is quite vast. I found an article about raccoons with rabies on Long Island from the CDC, so you really don't know what you'll find. It just has so much from all areas of the military and the government. Next is Humanities in Full Context, which in Ebsco is actually named Humanities Full Text. This is, once again, a database that encompasses a wide variety of topics and works, including fiction, poetry, plays, radio programs, just to name a few of the things that you'll find in there. Articles, interviews, and obituaries, all around the subject of the humanities, are also included. Right below it, Race Relations Abstracts, which covers ethnic studies, discrimination, immigration, and other racial topics, isn't just all abstracts. There are quite a few full-text results, despite it saying that it's a database of abstracts. And while there is a chance that you won't find what you're looking for in full text, you'll at least have the article information. But just keep in mind that it's not all full text. Lastly, for this video, we have Religion and Philosophy, which is pretty self-explanatory. Everything in this database is going to include articles that somehow, however distantly, are related to religion and philosophy. And this is where we'll stop for this video. Thanks for watching. We have now covered half of the Ebsco databases provided by our library. In the next video, we're going to cover the other half, and that will end our look into Ebsco. See you next time. Bye.